Good morning, traders. It is 8:43 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, May 12th, 2020. Looking back at yesterday's action, uh, once the bell rang, uh, had a run at the overnight low for the RTY. The Russell, or I'm sorry, the Nasdaq couldn't even get out of the value area. The ES, right, went down to the previous day's low, back up, and chopped around just under value area low. And a similar pattern for the Dow, but it did cross under the previous day's low and kind of consolidated below value area low for the first hour or so. And then you can see all the indexes running up towards the high of the previous day, and the settlement, the Dow not being able to get there, the ES crossing over, and then the Nasdaq really blown out. So it looks like the Nasdaq is returned to being the dominant strength. Everyone must be returning to old habits, right? They've never been punished for them before, so it's just all about those large cap tech stocks, and those stocks really can do well in this environment, right? A lot of it doesn't have to do with where you physically are, right? It's technology. It's not anything else. So you can see why maybe the rush to go back to that sector since it's not being that beat up. And then you look at the Russell, and it's just kind of flat, right? A lot of this session was just inside the value area to a little bit below it. The same with the Dow, right? Just kind of above, below, and in the value area right around it. The ES, right, and the Nasdaq both, engulfing it, coming back up, and closing above. So I think we beat up yesterday. Looking at today's action, 41.5 points in the overnight session, and you can see, we opened up right here yesterday, right? So this was our trading action, bell to bell, were these bars. So that's really what we're looking at right now. And you can see that yesterday's high, yesterday's low, yesterday's high. The overnight low, if you notice, it was just a few ticks below yesterday's low of the day, right? And then as we climb back up, we're now above the settlement and we're above value area high for the ES. Looking at all the indexes, we can see that they've all, done similar. You look at the Nasdaq again with the strength, right? Its low is above value area low, where the rest of them have got below the previous day's range, and the Dow by the most, right? So as we look at this, slight bullish bias, but remember, a lot of this trading action has already happened. It's pretty much still in yesterday's range for everything. So it could just be, almost an inside day. We'll see if we can get the gumption once the market opens to continue higher. But we could just sit there and retrace back around and really spend a lot of time in the value area today. So we'll have to really watch the internals after about the first 30 minutes and see how they start to shape up. See if anything is going on or not. But the bulls are going to have to press this, right? We're already at the high of yesterday's range. So looking at the sequences for overnight, you can see that the bears had their day in the sun, and they lost it right around when the Euro traders come in and were taken out to the upside. And you can see after that happened, right, they started holding the 38.2 and coming up, and now they're in an aggressive up sequence. Looking at the Nasdaq, not as it's a lot sloppier, right? It's not as clean as the ES was. So it's sloppy for the bears, it's sloppy for the bulls. So this one has a little bit less conviction than the ES does. Looking at the Russell, similar to the ES, right? A little the bears lost their drawdown here. The bulls have gained some traction, and notice that it never even traded the 38.2 yet. It's just been in an aggressive up sequence ever since, basically busting the bears in the overnight. So now, looking at the longer term profile, we're holding above these 2881s, right? We've been consolidating for the last 3 sessions up here, really. And you can look at the action between the bell and the overnight, or the session action, and this whole thing. So basically, we have potentially a double bottom up here that's right around 28.95, let's call it 28.90, right in that area, and we'll see if that can lead us up to this 29.82, and that's really the next resistance I have, and we haven't hit it yet since we started screwing around getting above the 28.81s. Looking at the NASDAQ is farther ahead, and that's probably why it's a little bit sloppier, right? This would be equivalent to the same line that we were looking at for the ES, this 92.50, and it's already holding up here. So really the next stops on the bus, and we'll go ahead and mark some off. This could be a lid, short term, right around 54.50, and then another one right around 96.63. And then a small resistance, I'll go ahead and throw it on here, and then we'll scratch off the other one. Right around 9400s where I'd look to start, getting up if we get a run up early in a session, either today or tomorrow, to see that, that's probably we're going to get resistance. And it's quite possible that we end up chopping after moving up. We could end up chopping between 9400 and 9450 for a majority of a session one day. Looking at the Russell, I still like the 1353.60 above, and then really there's not going to be any trouble until we get below yesterday's low, and then really that's going to tie into possibly a retest of 1284. I don't think that's in the cards either. We'll just have to see if this ends up being another inside day, or if we can break above these highs. That's really going to be the test for everything except for the NASDAQ, I think, today. Looking at the Dow, right, this is equivalent to that 28.81 level in the ES. We've, flirted with it back and forth. It's been support, it's been resistance, it's back to being support. I don't really have any resistance until 24,555 really, and I would expect that to be tested sometime this week. And then we'll see once we get above here. Now that we're above here, I would really like to see, I'm going to draw a little minor line here. I'd like to see this 24,171 level hold going forward. So we're going to dot this out and see if it actually can become support and resistance here. So looking back at all the indexes and just putting an eye on it. Remember, we pretty much engulfed yesterday's session, right? So we're at the upper end of the range now. The question is going to be, do we fall back into the range and just make it a sloppy, choppy inside day, or do we actually get some conviction above? And once we start moving above, can we stay there? So we do have the breakouts above, right, on a lot of the indexes. They're holding their ground. They've got a little bit of minor consolidation above those breakout areas. So now let's see if we can get some continuation to the upside. That may not happen until tomorrow if we fall back into value on 3 or 4 of these indexes. So really it's a go with trade when they're all above, but I would be waiting for a pullback at this point in time, and then start maybe even pressing a little bit when we break out, either today or tomorrow. That's what I'm looking at. I hope this helps. You guys have a great day. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like this technical analysis, subscribe to the channel, and you'll see both Jack and I as we review each day. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.